Why should you play Dead or Alive 3? The purpose of this video is to convince you that Dead or Alive 3 is a good fighting game, and if you love 3D fighters like I do, you should definitely check this game out. Right off the bat, 3 of the greatest strengths of this game are the counter mechanic, the sidestepping / side walking speed, and the stage transitions between levels. If you're a fan of 3D fighting games, right off the bat, you're going to love those 3 things, because this game does those 3 things extremely well. The ability to counter and the input for countering is very doable. It's easy. It's not hard at all. This sidestepping / side walking. Sidestepping is in pretty much all 3D fighters, but sometimes it's a little stiff or a little slow. In this game, it's like very fast, so you feel like you can move around very easily and very fluidly. Stage transitions. Modern games have this a little bit, but this game has it better, and this game's from 2001. So there were 2 times while I was playing this game for the first time that the stage transitions between levels of the stages actually made my jaw hit the floor and go like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, just, I could not believe it was the thing you probably just saw a second ago, where when one person gets kicked out of a window, they fall down and hit the electric sign on the way down. And the other one you'll see a little bit later, which is on a stage called like Lost World or something like that, where you literally jump off a cliff and you're like falling through clouds. You fall so far, you fall like 50 yards down this cliff. Like, whoever gets kicked off first goes down, and then it automatically makes the other person who didn't fall off or get kicked off jump after them like they're pursuing them. And so if that's you, you're literally like falling through the clouds, jumping after this person, like 50 yards through the air, jumping through clouds. Oh, and right here on the screen right now, the first time I saw that, I couldn't believe that was gameplay. I'm like, this is gameplay? That looked like a movie or like a cutscene or something. Like, I can't believe that cutscene transitions seamlessly to gameplay. The first time I saw that, especially with the music that went along with it, my jaw just like hit the floor, as well as the Lost World stage. And there's some other stages as well that have really good transitions between their levels, but those 2 in particular were just straight up jaw-dropping. So, reasons why you should play Dead or Alive 3. If you love 3D fighting games like Tekken, Virtua Fighter, Soul Calibur, Dead or Alive 3 is one of those. It's excellent in its 3D properties in terms of spacing and moving and positioning yourself in relation to the opponent. It's excellent, beautiful stages to move around in, cinematic 3D camera work. If you're a fan of sidestepping and going anywhere along the stage like I am, this game is definitely for you. For a long time I avoided Dead or Alive. This is literally my first time jumping into a Dead or Alive game extensively for more than like 5 or 10 minutes. I've spent like many hours on Dead or Alive 3 at this point. I don't know how long because it doesn't track, but I know it's been a long time. And this is my first time really diving in all the way. And before this, I kind of heard that Dead or Alive was more or less like a fan service franchise, because it does have a little bit of a fan service reputation. But because of that, and I avoided it. I went with Tekken, I went with Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter was my preference. That's like one of my favorite franchises of all time, and Tekken is, a little bit below that in my preferences. But I just never messed with Dead or Alive, and this is my first time doing it, and I can't believe I missed out on this, because this was 2001. This is from the original Xbox. This is not an Ultimate Edition. This is not a super fancy edition. I'm playing it on the Xbox Series S and X, and so I think because it's back compat and on that console, I think it's obviously up-resed and smooth, and probably has some like built-in anti-aliasing going on. But other than that, this is not like a super redo edition. This is just the game how it was in 2001, made to look slightly smoother and up-resed. So that fact is very impressive based on how this looks, because there are several stages, especially like parts of this stage and parts of the beach sunset stage that just looked amazing. That part right there was was one of the transitions I was talking about earlier, where you're like falling through the clouds. You can do that several times on this stage where you kick them off and then jump after them. So I avoided the franchise for a long time. It's my first time jumping in. I'm the biggest fan of Virtua Fighter, and I love fighting games. But sometimes when you play fighting games, some of the inputs are either hard, or they make no sense, or they're difficult to understand. This game, one of the beauties of this game is that the inputs are not hard at all. I've never found. I've gone through I've gone through they call it the exercise mode and training mode. It's like the command training. I've gone through that for 5 different characters so far, and practiced all of the moves for 5 different characters. And there was not one single time where I couldn't do an input, or even had much trouble with doing an input. And that alone is just awesome. So yeah, if you're a fan of 3D fighters like Tekken, Virtua Fighter, Soul Calibur, you really need to check this out. Reason number 2, dynamic stages, like I just talked about, multiple tiers, cinematic transitions, immersive environments, way ahead of their time in terms of immensity and quality. I know Tekken did this, in Tekken 7 and Tekken 8. Yeah, they did it in Tekken 6 as well a little bit, but in terms of transitioning between levels of stages through a little tiny cutscene. But even those, I'm thinking about the ones even in Tekken 8, and I platinum Tekken 8. I put like well over 100 hours, almost 200 hours in Tekken 8, so I'm very familiar. Even Tekken 8, which just came out like last year, the transitions between levels of stages are not as immense and jaw-dropping as some of the ones in this game that came out in 2001. Like I would easily prefer the window to falling into the electric sign one and the jumping through clouds one. I would easily take those over anything going on in Tekken 8 right now in terms of transitions between stages. And Tekken 7 had some as well, but it's the same deal. So reason number 3, excellent accessible combos. I just played Street Fighter 4 for the first time the other day. I've never been a Street Fighter guy. Last year I played through all 15 of the King of Fighters games, the mainline ones, and that's very similar. But I've never played a Street Fighter proper much by itself. And so playing Street Fighter 4 the other day, looking at the move lists, I was like shocked how few moves every character has. And I don't mean to insult you if you love Street Fighter 4 or whatever, and some people do, some people don't. But there were so few moves, and compare that to this game's 3D Fighter, Dead or Alive 3, the combos are so accessible, there's so many of them. The inputs are like well within grasp, like they're not like baby mode easy. They're not like hit A, then hit B, then hit C. Good job, yay! But they're like, punch, punch, forward, punch, punch is one example of them. Or like punch, punch, forward, punch, down, kick. It's not anything. This is a little glimpse of the final boss right now, but I'm not going to show the entire boss fight because it's a little bit of a spoiler, but mainly it's a short boss fight. It's not crazy. It's a little difficult. You probably have to do it a couple times, but it's nothing to write home about. I just didn't feel like including it in the video. But yeah, the combos are extremely accessible. They're literally, that's the reason why I'm showing you them in this video right now. Like showing you some of the inputs, like down, kick, kick, that one right there, up, forward, kick. A lot of these things are extremely doable. It's not rocket science. It's not like, you don't have to scratch the button to do a one frame move like in Virtua Fighter playing Akira. It's nothing like that. Very accessible, and it has juggling. I love juggling. You kick them up in the air, you hit them a few times in the air. Classic 3D fighting game thing, and it has that. A lot of fighting games lack accessible combos. Like a lot of fighting games, particularly 2D fighters, are often guilty of this, where their combos are either non-existent or they're not very accessible, or it's all about canceling, and so the amount of things that you can cancel into each other is always a little bit limited. It's always like, well, you can cancel this into that, but you can't cancel that into this, kind of thing. So this game, basically, what I'm trying to tell you, it gives you a lot of options, and they're doable. you as a gamer who is, not the greatest gamer in the world, if you're watching this video, you're probably not making money off of how awesome you are at video games. As a regular old person who plays video games, you probably want the stuff you're able to do in a game to be doable on a controller, and this game definitely has doable stuff on a controller. Like that combo right there. Punch, punch, back, punch, punch, punch. That's for if your back is turned to them. And now that's insanely simple. They're not all that simple. But a lot of them are, relatively simple. That is a big, strong point for this game. Another reason why you should try out this game is the excellent counter system. I love Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter has some characters who have counter moves, but this game just has a broad cross the board, and the entire franchise has this basically of Dead or Alive, but it has an across the board mechanic where there's just a button. It's X for Xbox, it would be square if you were playing on PlayStation, and basically you hit back and the counter button. It actually calls it the free button, and it used to call it the hold button in Dead or Alive 1, but I don't really understand why it calls it the free button or the F button, but it's the counter button, and you push either back and counter or down back counter while you're intercepting a move, and you input it at the right time, and you grab them and do a move to them instead of them doing a move to you. It's amazing, and I wish more games had that. It enhances the fighting experience. It adds a whole new layer of strategy, because you'll do some moves and then go, okay, it's their turn now, so I'm going to expect to counter. Another reason is character design. Despite having a little fan service in some of the designs, characters in general look interesting and appealing as martial artists. The fan service is not intrusive. Many fighting games, the cast of many fighting games often have been boring or unappealing. This game has a little bit of fan service in there, a little bit here and there, mostly just in the ending videos, but generally the character designs are good, they're interesting, they're appealing, they look like good martial artists, That is a reason to play this game, because you're not playing boring looking characters. A lot of old video games, particularly like pre-90s and early 90s, a lot of the characters looked similar, or they just looked generic, like they're all just wearing a gi, or it's all just a dude with their shirt off. This game actually has some thought and some creativity put into some of the character designs. Not every character has to be fancy looking. Some of them do just look like a dude with, a shirt off or whatever. I love how fast that they skyrocket out of that building just now. He hit her and she just rocketed out of the building. That was so funny. So yeah, character designs, they're interesting, they're fun to look at, they look good, they're not boring, they're creative. That's one reason. Another reason, the excellent practice mode, as I've shown multiple times in this video, it has an excellent practice mode where you can not only tell the computer what to do against you so you can practice certain scenarios, but you can also do what I do and go through the exercise option and just go through every single move of your character so you know exactly what they can do and you can practice them. And what I do is I'll find just a handful of moves or combos that I can string together for maximum efficiency, and then I just practice those, and then I just keep those in mind and take those with me into the story mode so that I have a lot better time in the story mode, not just mashing buttons, but actually knowing somewhat of the capabilities of my character. Reason number 7, watch mode, which is what you're watching right now. It's essentially a mode where you let the computer fight the computer, and it does all these fancy cinematic angles. Oh, it just ended. But it's cool because it lets you see some of the capabilities of characters, and also it's entertaining. It's cinematic, but more than anything, it's entertaining, but it lets you see what they can do. So you literally just watch it for like 5 minutes. You pick whoever you want to fight each other, watch it for 5 minutes. You get to pick their outfits, and you get to see what they're capable of doing because the computer plays itself on a pretty high level. So that's pretty cool. Reason number 8, there's 6 different modes: story, time attack, survival, tag battle, team battle, and versus. So long story short, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of damage. There's just a lot to do in this game. That's a reason to play this game. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of modes. There's a lot of stuff that can keep you busy and entertained. And while you're doing it, you're not bored. You're not like, you know, playing checkers with yourself for 3 hours. You're looking at cool characters, do cool moves on cool stages with cool mechanics, countering. The counters look amazing. You know, they're not just boring little counters where it's just like, oh, you tried to do a move to me, but I'll push you away. You're not going to do that to me today. Not today, mister. No, it's like you grab them and you like do a flip and like land your knee on their head or something. It's crazy. Really cool mechanics in this game. Reason number 9, theater mode. Although I'm not a fan of some of these ending videos being overtly gratuitous in their fan service. They're mostly just cinematic references to the story, and they enhance the entertainment value. It's cool to watch a movie play out about the character you've been playing. Admittedly, the storytelling is fairly light in this game. It is there, and it provides intrigue and context. A few of the ending videos are just mindless, like look at this character in a bikini for 2 minutes type videos, but they're skippable and they're fairly ignorable in light of DOA 3 being an actually good fighting game. So there is that, but you know, just FYI going into this, there's a couple characters that when you beat the story mode with, your ending video is just like, you want to see me in a bikini? It's like, well, not really, but here we are. Anyway, and you know, no, not throwing shade at you if that's what you're into. I love 3D fighting games. I love Virtua Fighter, and so what I love about this game is its 3D fighting game mechanics, and I don't love beating a game and then just having a game being like wow 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 bikinis. Anyway, so reason number 10, varied and diverse move lists that are easy to learn. Varied fighting styles translate to appropriate move lists. For example, Jan Li uses Jeet Kune Do, so he fights like Bruce Lee. Ayan uses ninjutsu, so she fights like ninja. Tina is a pro wrestler, so she does suplexes and other stuff like that. It's fun to mix it up with diverse styles, 70 to 80 plus moves for each character, which is great. So it's nice being able to learn a character, do stuff, have fun, beat the story mode, what have you, play your friends, whatever you want to do, and then switch to another character with a different style, different moveset, learn that moveset. As I mentioned before, it's easy to learn, and then you have this new moveset which is quite different than that other moveset. Some of the characters do have, like, there's 2 or 3 characters that all practice ninjutsu, so their moves are going to be similar but different, but for the most part there's a lot of different styles, a lot of different movesets, so it's enjoyable to go from one to the other and be just like, I'm just doing suplexes now, or I'm just doing Bruce Lee stuff now, or I'm just doing, you know, cool. I think Ayan was my favorite move list so far, just because they do a lot of like weird low kicks into rolling into a high kick type stuff. Anyway, let's see here. So that's 10 reasons why you should play this game. Additional pros, real quick. As mentioned before, the speed of the sidewalking is fast. Other games are slow. The game is inexpensive. I got it for like $15 because it's from 2001, so it's inexpensive. It feels fresh. It's like if you need a break from Tekken, Virtua Fighter, Soul Calibur, it's different enough to be fresh, but similar enough to be what you love. Many hours of entertainment, learning characters, playing different modes and stuff like that. Fully customizable input settings, that's a big plus for some people. You can go into the settings and be like, I don't like pressing A, I like pressing X. And so you can just change the moves to be the buttons that you like pressing. 16 characters to play, 17 if you unlock the special boy. If you beat it with everybody and then do something else, you unlock an extra character. I haven't done that yet. Fairly balanced move lists. That's one thing I really appreciated, because as I've learned all the moves for 5 different characters, every single one, they're different, but they all have such a similar tool set in terms of their inputs and effectiveness. So, you know, there might be some characters I discover later on that are like way stronger and overpowered, but so far it's been extremely balanced, and I appreciate that about the move list. Cons, as I mentioned before, fan service, it's minor, but it is there. Storytelling, it is light. It's there, but it's light. It offers context and intrigue, but not much else. Story fights are 1 round, and you can't change that. That's, a gripe of mine. The story mode goes by pretty fast because of it. If this, closing thoughts, if this game had a robust, compelling story mode, or a story to the story mode, English voice acting, which was actually good, 2 to 3 rounds per fight in the story mode, or at least customizable, right? And they changed a few of the ending videos to be more about substance, less about bikinis. This would be one of my favorite fighting games of all time, or up there, definitely, alongside some of my favorite Virtua Fighter games. But as it stands, it is a refreshing, great 3D fighting game that deserves a chance from anyone who likes 3D fighters like Tekken, VF, Soul Calibur. So that's the video. That's it. Give this game a shot. I hope I have highlighted this game enough for you to give it a shot. It's literally $15. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but one cool thing about this game is that I have it on Xbox, right? So all 6 of the games, of the Dead or Alive games, are on Xbox. So if you jump into this game and then you decide that you love it, like I did, you literally have the entire series available on Xbox. Some of it's through back compat and some of it's through just regular. So that's pretty cool. That doesn't happen with a lot of games that you discover and then you have the entire series available digitally to download at your disposal. That's a pretty cool thing. So yeah, I don't think there's really much else to say at this point. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you have a good day. Don't forget to eat your veggies and thank the mailman and take care.